All right, friends. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I am so delighted. I have a special treat for you tonight. My friend, Coach Lori A. Harris, is joining us this evening. She is a speaker, she is a trainer, she is a life mastery consultant, and she is going to be talking to us about some things that can help us as entrepreneurs with our mindset. Because you may be wondering, well, why would you be talking about mindset or, getting your mind right when we're talking about beauty products? Well, this is the thing. Making the beauty products is not going to be as hard as navigating your mindset. Marketing them is not going to be as hard as everything you are going to do with your beauty brand is going to require a mindset. And the people who don't have all the resources, who don't have the best product, don't have the best packaging, but they have the best mindset, will get further than the people who have all the best of the other stuff any day. And so when people say, what is going to be the biggest obstacle, I say most likely the biggest obstacle is going to be you. And so Lori is going to be here to be with you, to be with your mind, to be with your heart, to help you really connect to the soul of yourself and your business in moving forward. And what's very interesting about Lori is that she is an amazing life coach. She's an amazing life mastery consultant, and speaks and writes well. And she has a lovely app called the Gratitude Train app, which we'll get to later. But she's also an amazing, kick-ass trial lawyer. She actually saves people from going to prison for decades, and all kinds of just really hard things, and has been doing that work for decades very successfully in Los Angeles. And Lori, welcome to the broadcast, and I'd love you to share a little bit about how you feel like your life as a trial lawyer and your life as a life coach kind of go hand in hand, how you've married the two and how they're all part of your self-expression in this life.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on this broadcast with you. I'm so deeply honored. And really, I want to talk to you about how I came to be in this work. I have been a trial lawyer for over 27 years. I've been working in the criminal justice center system for all that time, even a little bit longer. So it's really been about 30 years that I've been in the criminal justice center system. And I've been working with people, helping them to understand the concept of freedom. And when I was doing this work, it's very micro. I'm working with one client at a time, one family at a time, and I'm helping them to hold the vision for what they want to see as the outcome for a particular case, for a particular child, for a particular family, what they would like to have for them. And trial lawyers do difficult things. We walk into court on a regular basis and ask people to listen to us, to listen to our ideas. We're talking to judges and juries, and we're trying to convince people to see things from our point of view. I do this because I really believe in the concept of freedom. It's very important to me. I am an African-American woman, as you can see. And so freedom and the idea of shackles, it has always moved me. And in a Christ-like tradition, I love helping people. And so I was doing that work, but I felt really limited, that I could only help one person at a time, one family at a time. And I really would love to catch people at a different point, at a different state. And so what I know to be true is thoughts become things. And nothing can happen in this world unless it is first a thought. So the chair that we're sitting in, this video computer that we're conversing with, it had to be a thought before it can be a thing. And so I love helping people to understand the power that's within them to create a life that they would absolutely love. And so that's what freedom is to me. And what I love about you and your work is you're helping people to tie into that part of themselves that says, I want more. And the fact that these people are on this call with you and they're in your community, they're already at a higher vibrational awareness than 90% of the people in the world. Most people are just kind of going along with the program, taking what they think life has to offer to them. But actually, there's a whole big world out there. And if we can open our mind to possibilities, anything is possible. And that anything starts within ourselves. What are we willing to ask? What are we asking the universe for? And so I help people ask a better question, ask bigger questions. And that's what I love doing.
Lori, that is a beautiful, beautiful intro, and to your work and to your values and what you stand for, and your heart-driven mission to allow people to taste that freedom, to choose freedom, really. So, and the fact that you incorporated both in, the mindset as well in a really grounded, practical way for other human beings is such a beautiful thing. And I'm always riveted when we did our mastermind together last year, whenever you would share stories just from your day at work, I would just be stunned. I'd have goosebumps. So many stories to share, but we're not going to talk about that tonight. What I would really love to hear is, what do you have to share for the new entrepreneurs, or maybe people who have started their business but are still kind of, in that growing phase? What would you like to share with them tonight?
Well, as I said before, thoughts become things. Everything is created twice. It has to become a thought before it can become a thing. And so really what I would advise all of your entrepreneurial clients and students is to get real clarity about what it is that they want in their heart of hearts, to start telling the truth to themselves. That's the most important thing. And so you would ask yourself a high caliber question. And so rather than asking yourself, well, I have this desire. I think I want something more. I wonder what I could do. What would my training or my education, or what could I do at this stage in my life, given how old I am? What can I do? No, we're going to ask bigger, high caliber questions. And the highest vibration that operates in the world anywhere is love. So a high caliber question would be, what would I love? If I could do anything, have anything, be anything, what would I love? And on that level of question, you're going to get great answers. And so the number one thing that any one of us can do in order to achieve our dreams is to get clarity about what exactly is the dream. And you can start by writing it down. My former husband used to say, there's nothing more powerful than a pen or a pencil. And he was right. Now, he was talking about it from the point of view of an artist. But that's true for every one of us, because all of us are designing our own lives. And if one takes the time to write down their dreams with clarity, you are 10 times more likely to achieve that dream simply because you wrote it down. Wow. So my very first tip for our entrepreneurial friends is get clarity about what it is that you want and write it down. And write it down with specificity. So we are talking about, I would love to operate a business, prosper in beauty. What would that look like for you? And your vision is going to be very different than your sister's vision at the next computer.
Right.
Write it down. And so the thing of it is that we are generally, if we are awake and aware to our lives and not just going with the status quo, we are responding to that inner calling within ourselves. And so you're either going to be pushed by, pulled by a vision, or pushed by pain. And so you're on the spectrum, this continuum. And it's either, I would really, really love that, or this feels so painful, I've got to move in order to adjust myself. And so it's much more fun to be pulled by a vision, right? But, you're going to move one way or the other. So you want to get off the hamster wheel, get clarity about what it is that you would absolutely love, and write it down. And so I was talking to Eden about this, and we're talking about how do we make progress? And as adults, it's a little bit more difficult because when we're babies, we don't have any choice.
Right.
Life presents us and we come here and we don't know how to do anything. And we go from suckling at our mother's breast to eventually wanting to be a walker. I see my brother over here and he's walking and I want to do what he's doing. And so although it's scary and although we're unsure, we start doing what we can to walk. And so we pull ourselves up to the table and then we scoot along the couch and then we take a step. And we have a coach. We have the benefit of a coach. And so this is a very powerful image because if you look at it, it's like you have this little being that has a strong desire, being pulled by the vision of, I want to be a walker. And you have another person that's holding the vision with them, their parent, on the other side of the room. And so not only are they joined in the vision, this one united vision, but that coach is on the other side going, oh, baby, you can do it. Yeah. And eventually that baby does take a step and moves from cruising to letting go of the table to taking the first step and walking across the room. Maybe the baby will fall down. Maybe the baby will fall down a couple of times. But you know what that baby doesn't do? Go, oh, I guess I'm not meant to be a walker.
Right.
Baby never gives up. Mm-hmm. And so we can learn from that. We can learn from that experience. Having a coach and having a mom, that can be a great thing. But as we go along in life, we get a little bit addicted to their approval. And we can see when our mom is pleased with us. We can get that eye.
Yeah.
And we know that they're not. Or we really don't want to face the wrath of disappointing our parents.
Yeah.
And so we stop taking chances and we take a safe route. And we matriculate through life. And some of us, when we get through our schooling, some of us, pretty much a rare group of us, will follow a dream. Mm-hmm. Most of us will do what we think we can do, what some aptitude test has told us, or a counselor said, I think you would be good at X, or everybody in my family is a teacher, I guess I'll be a teacher. We fall into routines and habits, mm-hmm. and not necessarily because it's what we would love, but it seems available. Mm-hmm. And then we get lulled into a false sense of security in what we call comfort. And we can be on a hamster wheel of just going through the motions of our life and not actually living our life, but just existing. Mm-hmm. And so after a while, something, if you're awake, something will jolt you. It could be the death of someone that you care about, a parent, someone your own age, or a friend. Or it could be reaching a milestone birthday. Those zeros usually wake us up. It could be our kid going to school and needing us less. It could be our kid growing up and leaving the household and leaving us to figure out, what do I do with this one life? But if you are paying attention, you'll say, what do I want to do with this life? Mm-hmm. And you'll ask yourself better questions. Mm-hmm. So rather than being responsive to the addiction of having the approval of others, we start thinking to ourselves, if I've got just this one life, and what am I going to do with it? Am I actually going to live it? And we start taking steps. So you are blessed to be working with young people who call themselves entrepreneurs, who are working toward a dream. But it's scary because they have to manage the feelings of taking a risk.
Yes.
And they have to manage It's either the fear of failure or actually taking a step that didn't quite work out the way we had envisioned.
Right.
And so we want to learn how to manage our fear. We want to learn how to take steps even though we are afraid. And we do that by staying inside the vision. Mm-hmm. We allow ourselves to be pulled by that vision. And on the other hand, when something happens and it didn't quite work out the way we wanted it to, we're not knocked off our axis. Mm. We look at that, we take that information, and we process that as feedback. Mm-hmm. And it's not a failure unless you stop, unless you just don't get back up. And so you want to have clarity about where you're going, mm-hmm. and you're going to process it as feedback. And with having clarity about where you're going, then you'll also know what the steps are along the way. So if you and I were going to drive to New York, we'd want to know what the signposts are along the way. So, I'm leaving from Los Angeles. Eden, I'll stop by Phoenix and pick you up. And then maybe we're going to go to Texas. Maybe we're going to go to Denver. Then we're going to go to Chicago. But we'll have certain signposts set up for ourselves to know we're on the right path.
Yeah.
And so people who are in your class, they're benefiting from having a common vision of being a person, a woman who dreams of creating a product that is in service to the world, mm-hmm. that provides them with a certain level of freedom, creativity, expression. And they benefit from having you to hold their hand and share the vision with them. And so I'm just looking forward to Saturday and being able to talk to your folks and share with them how to keep taking steps and keep making progress and knowing that you're on the right path.
That was so true and so rich. And you pretty much have just mapped out so beautifully the entrepreneur's journey. Because to be an entrepreneur, inherently in a world where not everyone is, and I think that we're moving towards a world where everyone is going to be an entrepreneur in some form or another, even if they're working for other people. There's a skill set that comes with being an entrepreneur in this age that everyone needs to learn just to be competitive in the job market if you're looking to be employed. But learning that skill set requires that hero's journey that you've just described, from moving from safety, from, sailing set from the harbor into the sea, into the wide ocean, where you don't necessarily know everything. You have to manage constant tension, like what the weather is going to be like, how to navigate to the place. Fear of failure is a huge thing. Probably some fear of success as well for some people,
Sure.
So that segues into this offering that you have just so graciously agreed to share with the people who are in my Freedom Through Beauty coaching program, and to the people who, whether they're on the coaching level, whether they have purchased the All Access Pass, they're going to have access to this workshop. So if you're watching and you're in that program, then, don't purchase a ticket, because then I will just have to refund you. But, if you're watching and you're in the community at large, or maybe you're on my mailing list, maybe you're watching on YouTube, maybe you've liked the Facebook page, so you get these sort of broadcasts from time to time. We are having this amazing workshop. It's going to be this Saturday, U.S. time. It's going to be Pacific Standard Time at 10 a.m., which is 1 p.m. Eastern, and I believe that's 12 noon Central. And for the people in the UK and the EU British Standard Time, it's going to be probably about 6 p.m. So if you're on the continent of Africa, sort of between 6 and 9 p.m., depending on where your time zone is, or is it 5 and 8 p.m., something like that. So you can do the calculations. I'll have it all set out for you in the Facebook page and on the sign up sheet. But there's going to be a link below where you can sign up for the workshop. It'll detail all that you're going to learn, in terms of dream building your ideal beauty brand. And one of the things, some of the things you're going to learn amongst others are 2 essential keys for tuning into your purpose. Simple thinking strategies that guard you from fear and doubt and worry. What wealthy people do that creates sustained success. The number one factor that causes people to lose steam when they're going after a dream, and how to stay motivated to override it. One critical thing you must give up in order to reach your dream, and so much more. Lori talked about asking better questions. She's gonna go a little deeper into that. What is the next logical step once you've navigated, the initial hurdles? Being more tuned to your inner guidance, because so many of us have lost our connection to that inner guidance. So how to reconnect to it, and how to consistently listen to it and allow it to start to govern, because that inner guidance is what's gonna encourage you to move from safety to, that adventure of starting your own business. And so many things, like she mentioned at the beginning, Lori, you said that, a thought, anything before it's anything is a thought. So how do you go from a thought to creating a thing, a thing of beauty, a thing of passion, a thing that makes you feel alive instead of just settling for existence. So these are the things we're talking about in the workshop. Lori's going to guide us beautifully. I'm going to put a link to register there. I'd also like to share that Lori has, I know gratitude is a huge thing for you, Lori. Sorry, I was reading, I need to see your face. There's your face. Okay, I was reading from a
okay.
everything. But I know gratitude is a huge thing for you, and you have created really an amazing thing. It's a free gratitude app that you can get, whether you have an iPhone, whether you have an Android. You can download that onto your device, and you can look at it every morning. And it was always difficult for me prior to this app to maintain a gratitude journal. I just kind of couldn't get it together. Like, I knew I could do it. I could kind of, but there's just something about the way the gratitude app is written, with the daily stories and insights and so forth, that allow you to conjure up the gratitude, or to reflect upon the true gratitude, not just kind of, okay, I'm grateful for this ice cream, I'm grateful that I paid my rent, but it's just kind of rote. And I think a lot of people get trapped in that when they're doing their gratitude journal, and that's why they stop, but the way your app is structured, it really helps you to reflect on things that are truly grateful, and not feel like you're just listing off things and checking a box. And it's very non-intrusive. It's easy to do consistently. It's easy, even if you drop it for a while, it's easy to come back to, and fall into place. So I
designed the Gratitude Train app in order to help people generate gratitude. It's one thing to say, I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
But once you reach a certain level of, I'm going to call spiritual maturity,
mm-hmm.
you learn how to be grateful in.
Yeah.
Grateful in is grateful in all situations, regardless of what it might look like, because you train yourself to look for the lesson. Mm-hmm. And that there's no bad thing that's happening. Our perspective is the controller of all of our experiences. And so we can decide who we're going to be and how we're going to show up. I'm reminded, I was on my way to the airport once, here in Los Angeles. And my Uber driver, she asked me what I did. And I said, well, I'm a coach and here's my card. And I gave it to her and I said, if you notice, I have this Gratitude Train app. And she said, tell me about it. And I said, oh, it's a journal and it'll give you daily prompts to help you remember to be grateful. Mm-hmm. And she said, it's funny you should mention that, because remember when Oprah started doing the gratitude journal on her show? She's like a bazillionaire now. She wasn't making as much money before she started doing that journal. But ever since she put that journal out into the world and encouraged other people, her income went up a lot. I think you're right. I think gratitude really makes a difference. I was like, wow, I hadn't remembered that, but you're absolutely right. Neither had I. You're absolutely right. And so if we can remember to be grateful, it will lift our own mood. Yes. And so one thing I can offer to your listeners and your viewers right now is as you write out your checks and you're sending off your bills, even if you're doing it electronically, you can write TUIG, thank you, God. Thank you, God. And just be reminded of the services you've received prior to paying for them.
Yes.
That electricity that you consumed prior to paying for it. And the beauty, you're from an international country. You know that not everyone just goes to the switch and flips it.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And not all day, every day.
Not all day, every day. Mm-hmm.
And so it's a beautiful thing. And even those who aren't able to do that, I was in Accra once, and I saw these children go to the side of the airport and do their homework because the lights are on all the time.
Yeah.
I love it. So we get to choose how we're showing up in this world. Yeah. We get to decide. And there's so much to be grateful for. And when you are, it just feels good.
Yeah.
So I invite you that when you go outside and you look out at the sky, remember no one is standing in just the place you're standing in. That sky view was prepared just for you, with you in mind. That's your view. That's your view of the sun. That's your view of the moon. That's your view. Embrace it. Take it in and say thank you.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That gratitude chain, you nailed it on the head with it helps you generate gratitude. That's precisely what it does. In a way, I feel like more than recording gratitude, it helps you generate it. So it's a more active, deeply moving, touching, and active practice, it felt like to me. So I love that. So there'll be a link for the workshop. There'll be a link for the gratitude app. And there's one more gift that Lori would like to offer you. And would you like to talk about how people can get on the phone with you to learn a little bit more about how you can guide them?
Absolutely. I offer discovery calls, and I do a few every month. It's a $250 value, and I save a few that I offer to folks for free. And so if you were to go to my website, loriaharris.com/chat, you can sign up for a strategy session, and we will chat, and I will help you with getting clarity on what is the vision. No ship can get anywhere without a destination in mind. And I will help you get clarity on what the vision is and get you some first steps with going forward on your vision. And when I talk about a vision, I'm talking about full spectrum living. That means your health, your relationships, what you're doing for work, and what you're doing for creativity. You want your whole life to be a thing that is an expression of the divine operating as you. No one is showing up on the planet as you. And we need you to be your very best self. And it starts with this powerful thing. It's called a decision. And you can do that. And I'd love to help you with that. So sign up for a strategy session. I'd love to meet you. And it's very much like Eden and I are speaking. I get to look you in the eye. You can look me in the eye, and we will chat.
And I just want to share that I did a discovery session with Lori, I believe it was last year, and it just really reframed some things for me in a way that I've taken even a year from the call. Like asking better questions, but how to ask better questions, how to frame them, from a place of possibility and expansion, as opposed to from a place of contraction and restriction. And, it's just kind of always reaching for the next better feeling thought, sort of, and that will always move you forward, So I hope that you will join us for the workshop. It's going to be recorded. There'll be Q&A after the workshop is done, live. But if for some reason you can't make it live, you still will have access to the recording later. Live is always best, but if you can't make it live, you'll have access to the recording, lifetime access to the recording. And also there's a special price for it, purchasing it before it goes up on the website for sale afterwards. The recording will be priced differently than the actual workshop. The workshop is only going to be $25, which is a steal, for what you will be getting. In real life, Lori never charges something that low for a workshop of that length, of that caliber. And, in that small, intimate group setting like that. So it really is practically a gift. And it will be more when it's recorded on the website. So, I hope that you will join us. And I look forward to seeing you at the workshop. If for whatever reason you can't make it, you still win by just having this interview. Is going to be up on the Facebook page and on YouTube, so you can come back to it again and again, just to feed your soul, to get some guidance. The Gratitude Train app is free, so if you have a smartphone, there you have it.
Yes.
And you can always book a strategy call if you really feel like you want to take this to the next level and you're ready to make that next step to get that mindset piece that you'd like. All right. So thank you so much for joining us, Lori. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. It was my honor. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you, Eden. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. All right. Good night, everyone, or good day, depending on when you're watching. Take care. Oh, wait. That's not what I want to do. I want to do this.